Welcome back, future viewers. I am, as far as I can tell, still Regdrin.
And I am a Stone of Triumph or a reasonable facsimile.
Well, we'll see about that. Let's go to the next battle, but before we dive in, we are changing our faction to the Rebels. Describe them in a few words.
Rebels without a clue.
I'll read out the fluff. Rebels. The Rebels are a collection of species that once formed part of the Galactic Empire, but broke away due to the harsh demands of the Empire for ever greater sacrifices in terms of military commitment. The Rebels reasoned that the only way to ever be free of a lifetime of military service for the glory of the Empire was to dedicate their lives to fighting against them. As a result, today's modern Rebel Alliance contains the majority of the irony-resistant species in the galaxy. They are full of win quotes such as, "Congratulations! By blasting the enemy into atoms, we have shown that we will not participate in their bloody wars."
Okay, so the buff that the Rebels get across their entire fleet is speed.
They are a speedy bunch. They occasionally get a couple of other side buffs like power or shields,
But that's the same. Every faction has one buff that applies just completely across all of their ships.
they don't get too many special weapons. They have a variant of the beam laser called the fusion beam, which I'm not going to use very much here. The Battle of Mexallen. Unlike the previous map, we have access to fighters again. And so do they. Now, as usual, I'm not going to do normal, but I'd like to note that the tactics that the enemies use can change from one difficult to another significantly, even on the same map. For example, in normal, they send a whole bunch of rocket fighters forward to rip up your frigates, so it might be best to use heavier armored stuff and some anti-fighters for that one.
Yes.
But in hard mode, it's a little different. The dangers come from other places. So, let's bring forth some of our Rebel ships. I'll discuss them a little bit in more detail with our word for our response from our sponsor segment. So, let's try rockets.
Oh yeah, rockets used to be terrible in this game, but they were later patched to actually be worth taking.
Indeed. Well, let's find out whether that's true and see them in action.
Well, cruiser rockets anyway. Fighter rockets were always good.
Yes, fighter rockets. I do plan to use those as well. Now, with a wider map like this, it might be best to put your ships on one side of it so we don't encounter the entire enemy fleet at once. We can fight them a little bit lopsided like this. Now, we are still bringing pulse cruisers because pulse cruisers are amazing.
Yes.
And we are going to escort them with fighters because that tactic is also amazing. Well, when the enemy uses fighters. Although they're okay when shooting enemy hulls as well. And it's best to give fighters at least a little bit of room to move, just in case enemy fighters attack some of our other ships.
To escort.
I don't think it's even possible to give fighters the stay moving command because they never stop moving.
Okay, so what else are you bringing besides for cruisers?
Beam frigates.
Oh.
Beam frigates. You mentioned that having medium-range frigates escort your ships can be effective.
Yes.
So I'm going to try that. They use beam lasers. There are 3 of them, plus the plasma launcher because a fourth beam laser would take too much power.
Okay.
So let's hope that works out. And finally, a support cruiser.
What is the support cruiser equipped with?
It is equipped with a couple of fast missiles, a fusion laser, and an EMP laser, as well as a carrier bay, because I expect some fighter versus fighter action in this map.
Okay.
Yes, fighters tend to get vaporized by cruiser guns, but those aren't the only things that they'll encounter. Alright, well, I believe we are suitably outnumbered. I think this is a good place to get started.
Alright, let's fight him.
Yes. I'll start with 1.6 speed. And here we come. I don't think we ever really get to take a look at the specific enemy loadouts, but we can get the general idea here. Looks like these guys have some armor, and they use the same kind of laser cannons that my fighters do, and they're probably keyed in to attack our fighters as well. The good news is that we have more of them. Also, ours are a little faster because they are unarmored. And these are a rarity. These are slow fighters.
Oh, those are probably carrying torpedoes of some kind.
Yeah.
Torpedoes. Not worth it.
Torpedoes. They are very, very heavy. Most fighter equipment has a weight of something like 1 or 2. Torpedoes have a weight of 15, and they will slow the fighters down so very much.
Okay, so we've moved to contact.
We have contact with their frigates. Now, our back ships have sort of swung around a little bit because they have the attack fighters command, even though it's low priority, whereas the pulse cruisers up front do not. But that's actually good for us because it means that our beam frigates are at a fairly safe and respectful distance from the stuff that could pulverize them. And the nice things about frigate beam lasers is that, provided they don't bounce off their shields, they have a fairly fast refire rate for beam lasers, so their DPS is quite good.
Yep. So,
and here come the rockets. Now, rockets, as you may observe, have a couple of problems. One is that they have no decoys. I don't know if guidance system scramblers work on them, but point defense guns sure do.
yes.
Also, they might have some sort of an inaccuracy problem.
They fire pretty fast, though.
They move fast. They strike me as similar to contemporary rocket-propelled grenades in that who knows where they're going to end up. They have good penetration. They have good refire rate. There's just that one problem.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not a good weapon to use on frigates.
No, there are other weapons to use on frigates. So it looks like you've got this one.
Yes. It looks like my frontmost beam frigate has been vaporized.
But that's really the only loss you've taken.
Yeah. And I think that's just about time to clean up, so let's speed things up a little bit more. It looks like their weapons are just bouncing off of our cruiser shields. Sometimes enemy builds are a bit lopsided that way.
Yeah.
Also, we can take a look at things like the cooldown of our weapons, or how much they've been used as far as carrier base supplies.
Or how much they've been damaged.
Yes. Looks like we actually have done some repairing in this map. So hooray, we won! Unfortunately, while they have been buffed a bit, apparently the rocket cruisers are our least effective design, which is saying something considering that our beam frigates didn't really have that much time in the fight. So let's. This is one of the nice things. We can single out some of our ships, and yep, they do miss a bit.
Well...
It's okay. It was an experiment. We tried it out. Experimenting is fun, and who knows, there may be some sort of opposition where the rockets are better than what we got this time.
Yep.
So, that seems like a good time for a word from our sponsor. In this case, our sponsor is Bob's Beets and Greens, who I understand have altered their product lineup some time ago. We have the Heavy Plasma Launcher. Take it away.
Nothing says prepare to die, alien scum, better than a huge superheated plasma missile hurtling towards the fuel tanks of your enemies. Say it with plasma. Plasma, because 3 phases of matter just isn't enough.
They also have, in related tech, the not-so-heavy cruiser plasma launcher. There's lots to like about plasma, but those big launchers can't hit a planet at 20 meters. These smaller ones are less wasteful. And they are not kidding. Heavy plasma launchers have the worst target tracking in the entire game.
Yep.
They will miss stationary cruisers all the time. The standard plasma launchers have considerably better tracking speed, although I recommend a target booster for them. And the damage is almost the same. They also penetrate just about everything. So if you want plasma, just bring the standard type for cruisers. I made an artillery I made an artillery plasma cruiser just for that type of experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Their damage per second is probably not as good as a missile ship. However, plasma missiles, despite the name, just cannot be intercepted.
Correct.
So if the enemy has a lot of missile interception, say it with plasma.
Alright, so now let's hit the expert mode.
Not quite. Let's show off a couple of the other Rebel ships, since they are pretty much all new. We did switch races after all. This is the beam frigate. Lots of beams, a little bit of plasma, and probably a little too much engine power since they're supposed to hang back. I could correct that in the future. I also have made a thus unused pulse frigate with pulse lasers. Apparently very good damage per second for their cost. The problem is that you're sending a frigate in at close range. Have you come up with any strategies to keep them alive long enough to do that damage?
Well, they usually just do well enough on their own.
I guess, but...
I also use the frigate ion cannon.
Really? Okay. Well, I guess that'll be another thing to discuss. Because the rapid-fire laser, well, for one thing, its fire... It costs a lot less. That's really the main thing. But also, the penetration is about the same, and blah, blah, blah. We can discuss that later. Mm-hmm. That's Gratuitous Space Battles discussion, by the way, in a nutshell. We also have our rocket fighters, which we will reveal in expert mode. Fighter rockets. They are actually pretty strong. More importantly, their range is good, so they can act like sort of mobile turrets for your ship.
Yep.
And since rocket launchers take pretty much no power, you don't even have to put a power generator in the fighter, which actually gives it plenty of speed and still space for armor. It might be a little bit too good, actually.
Well, they can't shoot down any fighters.
Except the slow ones. That's why you shouldn't make slow fighters.
Yes.
That doesn't cover every single ship, but it should give you the general idea.
So,
back to expert mode.
I feel confident about this.
So do I. I feel so confident, in fact, that I'm gonna put my fleet right in the middle here.
Okay.
I know I said I'd bring rocket fighters, but this is actually just a test run, so...
Oh.
Looks like the opponents are divided into two large-ish groups.
Yeah, the top group is about as large as your entire combat fleet.
Yeah, but I've never let something like that stop me. So we got 2 speeds of fighters, and I don't know how well they're gonna handle things, actually.
Well, one of them is a set of rocket fighters.
Dang. Well, we can get an idea of how much damage our fighters are taking by the activity of our carrier support bay. It looks like enough of them have survived that they killed one of our frigates already.
Yeah.
Yep. Maybe I should put a little bit more anti-fighter equipment on our non-fighter ships or something.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it looks like I got plenty of fighters left. It just took a while to shoot those guys down. Also, I forgot to change orders so that our larger ships should not go out of their way to target
Fighters.
Because that's what makes them spin around like that. Means that their facing are not so great for times like this.
Well, enjoy your 2 against 5 fight.
Well, I'll figure something out.
Yeah, your rocket ships are shooting at fighters.
Yeah, they are. You know what? I think I can do at least a little bit better than that.
Yeah, you sure about that?
Yeah, I can remove the attack fighters commands from these guys. That'll help speed things up. Don't worry. Speaking of speeding things up, I will turn it to like 2.5 speed. Sometimes this happens when you realize your orders are not the best. So let's speed up until we get contact. I don't mean fighter contact. No one cares about that. I mean when our big ships meet their big ships.
So far, same as last time.
Yep, pretty much. Maybe I should expand the escort range of my fighters. That could help a little bit. Okay, here we go. So we made contact with their frigates again. Actually, you know what? I should just have my fighters escort my frigates. That seems like the smarter way to go.
Yeah. Well, assuming you lose this time or whatever.
It looks pretty likely, actually.
Oh, they brought those light cruisers to this.
Yep, a whole bunch of missiles. So I may have to change my design to deal with this.
Yes. Everybody gets a guidance scrambler.
Yeah, guidance scramblers are a little bit... Like, point defense systems are a thing, but the guidance scramblers are just so much better. Well, I think it's safe to say we know what the outcome of this one is going to be. And thus begins the the act of changing everything, like specializing our build to counter their specialized builds. That's another Gratuitous Space Battles staple. Let's see. This is not gonna do it. This probably is gonna do it.
But you need a bit more power.
I do need a bit more power.
Well, you have enough crew for it, so...
Yeah, that at least is not a problem. The trick is how to deal with the weaponry issue, because I prefer to have 4 pulse lasers rather than 3, but sometimes that's just not in the cards. You're thinking of putting a different weapon in there?
I don't know what you were planning to put in there.
Yeah, because me neither. Because right now we have just enough power for stuff. You know what? Let's throw in a blaster. Blasters are not very good. They're here specifically for situations with like this one.
Well, what I was just suggesting was put in a bigger reactor, but...
Well, I guess that could work too. That's gonna make this more expensive, but I guess it could be worth having the extra pulse laser. Too bad. I was looking for the opportunity to talk about why exactly blasters are so bad.
Why are they so bad?
Oh boy, blasters. They are a very light weapon with okay penetration, but piddly damage. And
yeah, their range is garbage.
their range is garbage. They consume low power, but it takes up a cruiser slot. This is like a frigate weapon on a cruiser slot right here.
Yeah.
Which is too bad because their advertisement is funny. We'll do that next time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's save that. And I guess we should put Guidance Scrambler on
your other ships.
Yes. For one thing, let's phase out our rocket fighters. Rocket fighters. No, we want those. Let's phase out our rocket cruisers.
Yes.
We can, let's see. I think if we move some stuff around, we can fit a Guidance Scrambler on these guys as well.
Wait, how'd you fit that engine into a weapon slot?
Oh, weapon slots can take any kind of equipment. It's vice versa that doesn't work.
Okay.
The only question is what we can get rid of. EMP cannons are pretty good. And also fast missile launchers are pretty good. I might have to skimp on the armor. Which is, on the face of it, not a great move. But as defenses go, I think the impact of the Scrambler will be overall bigger.
Oh, just replace the cruiser armor with powered armor.
Well, yeah, I can do that. That doesn't offer the same defense as 2 armors, but it is something, sure.
Yeah, you didn't unlock ultra heavy armor yet, did you?
Yeah. Although I'm not a huge fan of ultra heavy armor, especially on rebel ships. They're designed to be fast.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to try bringing plasma artillery to this battle as well. So, with those changes done, let's dive in and see if we can come up with a better solution.
Also, reset your fighter escort.
Reset our fighter escort, yes. Set target to these guys. It's funny that the frigate is named Colossus. Maybe it was named that ironically. I understand the rebels like to do that sort of thing.
Okay.
So that's step 1. Except we're not bringing rocket cruisers. Oops. In fact, we're probably going to have these frigates escort. I'll bring 2 support crews. No, wait. I have to make decisions now. Yeah, I'll have both of the beam frigates escort my support cruiser.
Yes. Also, don't forget to set the escort target on that last fighter group.
Don't worry, I'll do that. Done.
Okay.
And once again, give him a little room to move. And this time we are bringing some rocket fighters.
Yes, rocket fighters are good against frigates and nothing else.
Well, they are best against frigates, for sure.
So you're only bringing 3 cruisers?
Oh, no. I'm adding some other stuff. This is just getting the fighters in order first. We can keep our rocket fighters at a close escort to the pulse frigate, since that's a close-in fighter right there.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And let's see. This one needs a little bit of room since its range is shorter than the cruiser it's escorting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as I said, we are bringing some plasma.
Do we have a rebel plasma cruiser?
Yes, I'm reasonably sure that I remembered to make one. There it is. And we got to... I think 900 is pretty decent range for that.
Okay.
Remove attack fighters, because that's a silly order for these guys. And, let's see, maybe a little bit more force is necessary here.
Yes.
But probably not rocket cruisers. Support cruisers don't have a huge amount of firepower.
Yep.
So I guess we'll, let's bring a third pulse cruiser and hope that works out.
We'll just see what happens.
Once again, that is this game, alright. Oh, right, we have missile frigates, too. Let's bring some of those.
Oh, you built a couple of the cheapies.
Of course I did. It's important to have some of the cheapies around. We want to move. We want them to move into EMP missile launcher range.
Yeah, EMP missiles are a weapon that are unique to frigates.
Indeed. EMP is potentially very powerful crowd control, and having it on frigates, which is to say having more of them available, is potentially useful. I brought a bunch of fast missile launchers along with them because EMP missiles don't have decoys and they're not terribly speedy. But the fast missile launchers have roughly the same firing rate and speed as the AMPs, so I'm hoping that will work out. So,
let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
Here they come.
Oh, they just name their squadrons after colors, don't they?
Well, yeah. Red Squadron standing by.
Yeah. Well, it looks like things are working a little bit better now.
Yeah, and that your fighters are actually shooting the enemies down.
Oh, that was actually pretty quick. Managed to keep both of our beam frigates alive this time. Although, let's see what happens when they run into contact with these guys.
Well, not much apparently.
Yeah, they did just kind of disappeared. Yeah, all of those frigate missiles did them in pretty quick.
Yeah, and frigate missiles have the same range as cruiser missiles, just generally.
Yep. It looks like our plasma launchers, even though they're better in accuracy than... Okay, once the enemy stops moving, then we can hit them sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
But here's the thing about rocket fighters. Once enemy armor goes away, so does the enemy.
Yep.
And it looks like we have not missile-proof defenses, but enough defenses. Because those missile cruisers, they seem to not be the most durable.
No, they're the light cruisers like the ones you have.
Yeah. Yep. Ooh, they're all just going one after another. Kind of just like mine did when we didn't have the right way to deal with them. Oh.
And this enemy group looks like it's almost done.
Yeah, they're pretty much over now.
Question is, do we have enough remaining firepower for the rest of them?
I don't see why not. We haven't even taken any major losses yet. I mean, yes, some of our ships are a bit worse for wear, but, you know, that happens sometimes. And, hey, I mean, we haven't taken that much return fire if our frigates are still okay.
How do you like missile spam?
Yeah, I didn't realize until after the fact that I countered their missile spam with some of our own. But the most important missiles are, without a doubt, the EMP missiles. I mean, it's kept their front line more or less out of commission constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I actually made a mistake with my orders that would have made my rocket fighters more effective.
What?
I probably should have told them to deprioritize enemy fighters. They've probably been shooting at enemy fighter escorts the whole time. That is a shame.
Oh, well.
That's okay.
You're still winning.
I am still winning. But I want to look for ways to improve my gameplay still. Looks like I could have gotten away with not bringing this support frigate, support cruiser, actually. Support frigates are Gratuitous Space Battles 2 thing.
And down it goes.
Excellent! By blasting our... Oh, there's the line!
Yep.
We have truly shown that we will not partake in their bloody wars. Yeah, let's go back to deployment and check. Yep, they have fighters priority really high and they shouldn't be. So I'm gonna tone them down. Oh wait,
you can just kill the order. Wait, that's your laser fighter.
That's my laser fighter. Yeah, so my rocket fighters. Enemy fighters really high priority. They'd probably do a much better job if they didn't have that.
I just ditch attack fighter orders for those things.
Yeah, so let's save that. Because I feel like I did rocket fighters a disservice in this battle.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to redo this battle just to see how things are different, but for the next battle, we will bring rocket fighters and we will have them with the right orders.
Correct.
Just goes to show, orders, they make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that is it for this battle.
Alright.
Next time is another Nebula battle. Let's see what's going to be happening there. Are fighters allowed? Yes they are. The problem is that shields are not allowed.
Also, weapon ranges are low.
Weapon rangers, oh boy. It is going to be knife fight time.
Oh, by the way, the Alliance specializes in armor.
The Alliance specializes in armor. Well, it's okay. We have some idea of what we're going to encounter here, and possible counters to that.
But we'll see that next time.
Yes, next time. So, later everyone.
See ya.